Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to Star Wars The Old Republic, and we are with the Jedi Knight once again. Now, of course, we have chosen to help Koth first, because, well, I actually like Koth a little bit more than Lana right now, but yes, we do have to collect a couple of starship parts that have been scattered around the nearby area of the Endless Swamp, of course. Yes. What actually means that it's the Endless Swamp? I mean, it must end eventually, of course, but yes, it's one of those names that has been passed down from generation to generation, and they just call it the Endless Swamp because it is quite endless. Yes, it seems to be quite endless to me, at least. There are many, many facets to it, and many swamp rancors to be fighting. Yes, of course. So let's just be picking up all these things here. And, wow, that was actually remarkably easy. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder in terms of being attacked by various swamp wildlife, but, we have to apparently investigate some detected debris readings? Oh, okay, so what kind of... Oh, it's going to be another swamp rancor, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be something like that. Okay, well, I guess we do have an opportunity to get to know Koth a little bit more, because, of course, we do know him to be quite the honorable man. And I suppose that will then mean that he is going to be, well, agreeing with us on most things, because even though we are a grey Jedi, most of the opportunities that we are going to be getting in terms of choice are probably going to end in a light side choice, which is, it's not a bad thing to me, but it does, of course, eliminate quite a bit of the, what shall we say, actual decision-making. So that's a little bit disappointing, but, well, what can you do? I mean, some of the choices are going to be difficult, but some of them are just going to be no-brainers. So, yeah, we're going to see how that goes and how he reacts to them, of course. But I think, for the most part, he is going to be agreeing with most of our decisions because they will be light side. So, yes, there's, a little bit of disappointment there, but, of course, it's actually quite a nice change of pace because we do, of course, also have Zaynash's experiences in Knights of the Fallen Empire, and he is primarily a dark side user, of course, and so we're going to see the other side of the story. And, of course, we are also a Republic character this time as well, so yes, that gives us a little bit more insight there too. So yeah, we'll see what all the characters are like when they meet us, inevitably. And for now, we're just going to be dealing with this huge bug, who looks very, very menacing indeed. But yes, thankfully enough, Koth is dealing some pretty nice damage, as well as us, of course, and we'll collect the fuel cell.
It's destiny. I ditch all these parts before we crash. We find the gravestone, and then what do we need to get it flying? Honestly, it's plain as day. Not for Lana, though. For her, it's all just skill and luck and coincidence.
I'm with you. Things always end up going my way. There's really no other explanation.
Let's hope that includes taking down Arkin. Lana's told me about all the things you've done. More than once. Half the reason I agreed to this crazy rescue was to see if you were actually real. So, I figure I know all about your past. You deserve to know mine. I grew up on Zakul. Served in the military. I captained a warship during Arkin's campaign against the Core Worlds. One of the last ships without an all-droid crew. My crew and I deserted, but I'm not going to pretend we didn't do our share of damage beforehand. Just thought you should hear it from me.
Something must have happened to make you desert your post. What was it?
We were holding territory on Denon. Locals rioted and orders were to open fire until they stopped. None of us even wanted to be there. Massacring civilians? That's not how Zakul is supposed to operate.
I guess that's how Arkin operates.
Which is why he has to go. One more thing, as long as we're being honest. When you risked your life to shut that generator down, you showed me that you're someone I can count on. I want to take Arkin down, but we don't have to take down all of Zakul with him. I'm glad to know you understand that too.
Too many innocent people have suffered already. I'm not going to add to that.
Thank you. Come on. Let's get this stuff back to the gravestone.
Salutation. It is a pleasure to see you again so soon, Masters. I've encountered minimal resistance in my patrol.
Minimal?
Reassurance. Only one Sky Trooper and 3 local predators with poor survival instincts. Our position appears to be secure at this time, but I would still advise caution on your return trip, Masters.
Keep up the good work, HK.
Appreciation. It will be my pleasure to do so, Master.
Ah, yes, another visit from your friendly neighborhood HK unit? Does that work? Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. Well, whatever the case, I'm going with it. Yes, I'm going with it. Speak to Lana on the gravestone, and we get a lovely quick travel item. Ah, I actually really like that. And, yes, we'll have to speak to Lana, of course. I assume that she is going to want us to scavenge for food and water, because, well, that was the option beforehand, to choose between Koth and Lana in the previous episode, of course. And which way am I going? Not that way. Not that way. Apparently, left is the way to go. And can I actually get on my mount? No, of course. Okay, well, where is she? She's going to be in here. I'm actually quite surprised that I'm going with Koth down here, because, well, we already have the parts, so I thought he may go to repair something, but no, apparently we have to go manually to Lana.
Welcome back. Did you find what you were looking for?
More or less. I'll see what I can do.
Shall we, then? We won't last long without more food and water.
Let's go.
I'm actually quite surprised that we are needing to find food and water this soon. I mean, I actually don't know, because I guess that we are kind of having issues anyway, but I don't know. It hasn't... Oh, well, I guess it has been relatively long. Yeah, I guess it does make sense, but I thought maybe Lana was just making a big deal out of nothing, perhaps. But yes, let's actually see. Wait a minute, what is this? That's a control unit, and this is a speeder bike. I would like to use... Oh, hello there. I'd like to use this. Okay, well, apparently I'm using it. And upon exiting the phase, we are now greeted by the Endless Swamp once again. But this time we have Lana by our side. I'm actually a little bit worried about what she's going to bring up, but I think she's probably going to give us a brief history of the past 5 years. And, well, that's probably going to be quite enlightening. But first, we do need to deal with these swamp jinxes or ginkses or whatever they may be. But yes, obviously Lana on damage spec, she is going to be dealing a lot of damage as it is, so we don't really need to worry about them that much.
When Darth Mar and I faced Valkorion, we knew right away. He was the Sith Emperor, Lana.
I know. When he was struck down, it released ripples through the Force. Everyone who had felt the Sith Emperor's presence in the past, on Ziost, on Yavin 4, we all sensed what had happened. Arkan invaded soon after, claiming that an outlander had assassinated his father, the immortal Emperor. It didn't take long for us to unravel the truth.
Which side did Arkan attack first?
Both. Ships from the Eternal Fleet struck at shipyards and rallying points for both sides simultaneously. They favored ambush tactics throughout the war. Zakulan's sensor technology has far greater range than our own, and their ships can fly much further on less resources. Only vessels retrofitted with Isotope 5 could manage to outrun them. None could truly compete.
Ah, so there's a brief history of the space combat, I suppose? The space combat that's, well, see, that's the thing. The Republic, I don't believe actually utilized Isotope 5 that much, whereas the Empire did on Makeb. So I'm a little bit, yeah, there's not particularly too much of a unique story behind that. Of course, Lana is part of the Empire, so she would be having ships with Isotope 5, but I don't believe the Republic was actually utilizing that resource, but maybe they were able to gather some from Makeb or something along those lines, but it didn't actually explain that too much. So, well, I guess there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, but I can't really fault them too much for that. Or can I? Can I?
How long did the Republic and the Empire manage to hold out?
Within 3 months, the bulk of our naval forces were disabled or eliminated, and the Republic was in the same situation. With naval superiority, Arkan's forces could begin choking off supply lines, trade, any ship travel at all. The Eternal Fleet seemed to be everywhere at once. Coruscant and Drummond Cast were blockaded by the end of the first year.
Well, that was extremely quick for them to be able to be, well, blockading the capital worlds that fast. But I suppose, well, we've seen, well, with Zanesh at least, we've seen the Eternal Fleet in action, and, well, we can only hope that maybe Zaylan will be able to turn the tables a little bit more effectively this time around, but it's highly unlikely right now. But we're gonna see how that goes. But the Eternal Fleet in itself, it has a lot of speculation surrounding it, and again, I think we're gonna have a brief discussion about that later on.
How did it end?
The members of the Dark Council fought Arkan's invasion ruthlessly and lost. The Empire's treaty was ultimately negotiated by the Minister of Logistics. Chancellor Suresh also refused to discuss surrender, but the Republic Senate managed to overrule her. A cadre of senators negotiated their own ceasefire terms. All of those senators have since been disgraced or dismissed. I'm sure you can imagine the likely culprit.
What about the Jedi Order?
I know that they suffered heavy losses, but that's the extent of my information. I've sent agents to find out more, but none have returned. I wish I had more to tell you. So far, the treaties with Zakul have held, but that will not last forever.
Well, I'm actually really surprised that Arkan even decided to go with treaties. I mean, surely it's a lot easier to exterminate rather than to uphold some sort of weird blockade resistance oppression tactic. I actually don't know really, but it's kind of strange because obviously he does maybe it's mainly because he wants to mine the resources in the various territories of the Empire and the Republic, but again, isn't it easier for him to use his sky troopers or automated mining facilities to be able to get that rather than use slave labor? Maybe that is indeed the case, but well, I don't know. Maybe he's got a weird sort of mindset about that kind of thing, but I guess we do have to have an opportunity to fight back, of course, otherwise there would be no storyline whatsoever. So, yes, I guess that does make sense, but still, I think from a practical, a logical perspective, maybe not the best idea. Hello, Swamp Rancor. Yes, hello. You have appeared once again. And you will be eliminated once again, but this time with Lana by our side. I think the last time we fought a Swamp Rancor, it was with HK, no less. And I have to say, he is a much greater companion. Oh, in my opinion anyway. So, let us make our way around and find the alternate site for the groundwater. And I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, obviously we do have a waterfall here, but I would have thought that groundwater would be a lot easier to find than coming here.
A freshwater spring. It should be safe for drinking.
So the Eternal Fleet overwhelmed both the Republic and the Empire? What was the result?
Both sides are forced to pay a heavy tribute to Zakul, mainly raw materials and resources. They're also held under an arms limitation statute. The Empire and the Republic are both breaking it, of course, but they're still incapable of challenging the throne directly.
Who's in charge of the Republic now?
Suresh reached the end of her term limits recently, but her replacement is a carefully selected puppet. She still runs things, even if she isn't officially the Chancellor anymore.
And the Empire?
Only one member of the Dark Council remained after the chaos. Darth Asina. She now rules as Empress of the Sith. Both sides see this only as an opportunity to eliminate one another at a time of weakness, instead of combining what strength they have. Archon does nothing to prevent violence between them, so long as their tribute is paid and no one challenges Zakuul's superiority.
I'm surprised Archon didn't try to destroy both governments. He obviously had the firepower.
I don't think Archon feels any desire to actually govern our portion of the galaxy. For now, he sees it as a backwater, useful only for resources. Powerful Zakuulan battle stations have been placed in orbit around key worlds to watch for possible uprisings. But there are no ongoing planetary occupations. The ships of the Eternal Fleet simply patrol at random, while the tribute paid to Zakuul gradually chokes all economic potential.
What about my team? My ship?
I have allies looking for them as we speak. With all of the chaos of the last few years, though, it will take time to find them all. For now, we make do with ourselves, Koth, and HK.
You obviously put a lot of thought into getting me out. Did you think about what would come after?
Of course, though I admittedly didn't plan on being stranded in this swamp. For now, let's take things one step at a time.
So why me? You clearly went to a lot of trouble to get me out of Carbonite.
Before you were captured, you accomplished things no one else dared to attempt. You changed the galaxy more than once, and if things have ever needed to change, now is the time. But there is something else. I've felt it since the moment I found you in Carbonite. There's a power in you. Something new. It's elusive, but I know it's there.
I think you're right, Lana. I think the Emperor, Valkorion, is in my mind.
What?
After he died, there was a storm of energy. I barely even remember being thrown into the carbon freezing chamber. And then, while I was frozen, I saw things. Dreamed about him, about everything that happened while I was gone.
It can't be. If he were controlling you, I'd know it. I certainly saw enough of it on Ziost.
I don't think he's trying to control me, not directly anyway. He was trying to convince me to work with him.
Whatever he's doing, we can be sure that he's always trying to deceive us somehow. I believe in you. And I appreciate your honesty. I'll remain watchful for any influence he might have over you. For the time being, though, we have no choice but to proceed.
What about the others?
They wouldn't understand. And like you said, we really don't know anything for sure yet. Let's keep the matter between us for now.
Request. Please rendezvous at my current coordinates at your earliest convenience, Masters. I require assistance.
Strange. We should hurry.
Well, I suppose that answers my previous questions, but not entirely, I suppose you could say. But we now have to rendezvous with HK, and, well, as he is my favorite droid, we are going to be heading over there as quickly as we can. But we will save that for the next episode, and so I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.